Sports Comic News, episode 131. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside the stunningly handsome Mike.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to go with, well, thank you for that compliment, but I thought you were going to go with, the darkest timeline, Mike, because I'm wearing a black shirt, the lights are dimmed, I don't have a hat on, my hair is slicked back for work.
We're both in hiding this week.
Yeah, this is the middle of the week recording because it is a holiday weekend coming up. But the show must go on. And that being said, we have an interview this episode with an awesome guy. I mean, I'm looking at the projects right now and they're amazing. But Gilbert Deltrez will be on the show talking about his project, Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. Come on.
Yeah.
Dude.
I read the title and was like, I need to contact this guy.
Yeah, so we'll be talking to him a little bit later. Other than that, Chris is wearing a Seinfeld shirt I'm very proud of.
It's pretty great. It's pretty teal as well, which I'm not used to these bright colors.
Yeah, that's a 90s color for sure.
Yeah, it's
that's you don't see anybody wearing that anymore. And for $7, I mean, come on.
That's a deal at twice the price.
I love Seinfeld. Maybe we'll start up a Seinfeld cast. I'm sure there's several out there.
Oh, don't tempt me. Do not tempt
Seinfeld. I'm sure there's already a Seinfeld. If we get a really low point, if there's a day where we're really struggling for news, maybe we'll just watch 2 Seinfeld episodes on Hulu and record it or something. Maybe we'll try that. We'll try that for an episode. Look at Chris is so excited. He's trying to control his breathing. He's
the Vandelay podcast.
Art Vandelay.
Art Vandelay.
Oh man, that show. If anybody's never watched Seinfeld, just go watch Seinfeld.
I always wanted to pretend to be an architect, Jerry.
Who's your favorite character on Seinfeld?
Oh, George, 100%.
Really?
He's such an asshole, and I love it.
He's an asshole, but he's also he's always, I don't know, he's the damsel in distress all the time.
Yeah, he's a lovable loser. It's the same reason I like Curb Your Enthusiasm, because I think Curb Your Enthusiasm is the George show. You
think Larry David's the lovable loser?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's the one that he always does something and he thinks he's doing right, or he's trying to do right, but it's always fucked up in some way. So,
but the lovable loser is he himself thinks that everything he's doing is this is how it should be. The world is wrong. My version is way better. It's but dude, if that was it, the world would probably be like that, and it's not.
Yeah. Oh
man, some of the things he does are just the rules he lives by are just the most ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Anyways, but we had a couple. We'll just jump into the news. We had a couple awesome trailers drop this week that I really want to talk about.
Yes.
I caught up on Preacher. You caught up on Preacher, buddy?
I got 2 episodes in.
2 episodes in. What do you think so far?
I am enjoying it. I like where they're taking Jesse in the show. I think, and I saw that little cameo you were talking about last week.
Yeah.
I really enjoy what Jesse's doing, where he's going. Tulip and her story is getting kind of dull for me, but I know it's heading somewhere. The way episode 2 ends, it's going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And
where does it end? I can't remember.
It ends with her sneaking into the facility.
Oh yeah, it gets better.
But the whole thing with inside the facility, the torture sequence and all that, and then I can't for the life of me remember who the angel is that they have trapped, even though I read the book.
Oh, so, the one they have trapped with Cassidy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
But so all these different things going on, along with what Cassidy's doing and how he is almost afraid to leave, and they want you to think it's because he doesn't want to go out in the sun, but that's not the reason.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it for the most part. There's, like I said, the little things with Tulip are iffy for me, but I know that they're heading somewhere where it's going to be redeemed in the end.
Yeah. It's getting good, and towards episodes 3, 4, 5, you get a lot more Saint of Killers too. So
yeah,
which is awesome. I'm really enjoying it. I tried that Pennyworth show. I got about 20 minutes in, and I turned it off. I don't like it. You could take the name Pennyworth out of there, and I wouldn't even think that it's a DC property. I get what they're doing. It's type of like the tone of like maybe like a James Bond-esque style show, but it just didn't work for me. I didn't care about any of the characters.
Yeah, I don't have the want to seek it out right now.
Right.
But I could, if it hits like Netflix or something, I'll give it a shot. Because that's the feeling I got, was a Bond-esque show, which I'm down for. I mean, I'm
a
James Bond fan, so.
I did start Wu Assassins. So I'm a huge fan of The Raid and The Raid 2. When those actors, they're really good kung fu movies. Those actors were actually, if you remember in The Force Awakens, Bolo Teak and his crew, when they board Han's ship, they were like the guys in the red suits.
Yeah.
Those are those actors. They're part of The Raid, and one of those guys is the main actor in Wu Assassins. It's pretty cool. Like, he gets chosen because he's pure of heart, and he's taking on the Triad right now, and he's like he has to fight off, like, there's like elemental lords that, like, one possesses fire and stuff, but they're like almost like crime lords, and he's got to like take them on with his power. It's pretty cool. It's an interesting show. The fight scenes are really good. The main actor is the main actor from The Raid and The Raid 2, and so like he's really good at kung fu, so it's my kind of show. It's like what I wanted Iron Fist to be. Like, if you want a good Iron Fist show, watch Wu Assassins. That's probably what I should have opened with. That's the best way to describe it.
What you wanted kung fu in your kung fu show?
Yeah, and Asian people instead of like one Asian person. Yeah, but it's great. Check it out if you like kung fu. And now, I mean, dude. Okay, so the trailers that dropped this week.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about first? Joker? We can probably talk about Joker just because there's not a whole lot of speculation there.
Yeah.
Joker trailer 2 and the final trailer still have no idea what to expect. Other than that, this movie looks really fucking good. I think, like, really good in the sense that I had a conversation with someone at work about it today, and I think the reason I love these trailers, like, I know nothing about the movie. And honestly, I'm kind of sick of the Joker character. So if you were to tell me that, hey, like, Joker movie's coming out, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But seeing the trailer, I'm actually excited because I don't know if you picked up on this, but one of the things that we love about, and I've heard you talk about it on your other podcast, we love about Batman, the animated series, is it's timeless, right? Yeah. And timeless in the fact that, like, when you're watching an episode, it's you can't tell if it's the 1940s or if it's like 2025 between, like, you know, the gangsters with the machine guns and then, like, the, you know, gadgets and weird electronics that everybody's using. It doesn't make any sense. And I think that's what they're going for in the Joker movie. It, like, I can't tell if this movie's 1920s or it's, like, you know, 2010. And I really like that. I don't know. That's just me, but
yeah, I get a very 60s, 70s vibe from it, personally. Yeah, right. I mean, I could tell Robert De Niro's playing an Ed McMahon style character. Mm-hmm. I get what they're going for. I think I'll like it. It looks really good. I stick by my initial reactions, though. It looks like complete Oscar bait. Yeah. That's not a bad thing. I'm just, right. You know. But I thought this trailer gave us a lot more insight into the progression of the character,
like, losing his mind.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see, like, what they do with it. I mean, I'm not keen for a solo Joker movie. I'm even less keen for a solo Joker movie with no Batman. But every time I watch one of these trailers, I'm like, wow, this looks pretty good. I might check it out.
And it comes out in a month already. I think I saw some stuff about Joaquin Phoenix talking about the role, and he said to nail the laugh, and, like, you can go back and listen to it, and he watched videos of, like, insane and like people with mental illnesses and, like, how they laugh when they're, like, out of touch with reality. Like, he studied those, and that's how he got the laugh. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
And that's one thing. The laugh really stands out when it hits in the trailer, and I really like it because everything you said makes complete sense. Because when he laughs, he feels like he's insane. Yeah,
like there's something about it that like, it's just off. It's kind of eerie. Oh, it's really creepy. You know what I mean?
So
it's good. And I think the biggest part about it that I had to worry too is like, it doesn't remind me of Heath Ledger at all. It's completely, it's not a copying of Ledger at all.
No,
I don't feel that way. Yeah.
Because I feel like Ledger was the chaos Joker. And this reminds me more of Hamill's than anything, even though Hamill's is much more cartoony for the obvious reason that it's in a cartoon.
Yep.
But it reminds me from the moment of like he just enjoys messing with people and messing with. I get that feeling from it. So we'll see what it ends up being. What was the release date for it?
I think it's October 1st.
Okay, so October 1st, I'll be there to watch it. I mean, even if we didn't have this show, I would probably be there to watch it.
Yeah, and now I think the final trailer, right? It wasn't even a trailer, but it was the reel that they do for D23. They do that every time now. There's a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, we haven't gotten we have gotten an official trailer.
We had an official trailer, and then we had this one, which. Well, they released a poster with it too. I mean, confirming that Palpatine's back. We talked about that.
Yep.
But so we got the Rise of Skywalker reel, and probably the biggest thing about it was the end, right? With we talked about Rey in the cloak with the double lightsaber. It looked awesome.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week because it was a rumor.
Right.
It does look awesome, and I hope it's not what we talked about last week. I hope it's real life, not a dream or anything. Yeah, because I just like the idea. I get the feeling that I'm gonna forget the name of the book, and a bunch of Star Wars fans are calling me poser right now. But there's a book series in which we get into this idea of Luke turning to the dark side and Palpatine clones and this and that.
Dark Empire, dude.
Dark Empire. Thank you. I get the feeling that JJ is pseudo adapting that for the universe.
I hope so. I really hope so because I've been waiting for it.
Yeah,
it's such a good series,
and I really think that even though Rian Johnson has been really stringent on this isn't a Skywalker, like his trilogy isn't a Skywalker movie. It's not based on these main characters. I really do get the feeling that he's setting up a new group of people to follow, but it's going to follow this story arc. And I hope that means that this ends in kind of an Empire-esque way of the bad guys won. So I'm so excited for this. I was one of the half of the people that loved Last Jedi, so I still have hype for Star Wars, and every time I watch one of these trailers, I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I still have hype for Star Wars. I think the big part about this is ending the era of movies. Like, this is the 10th, and like this will complete the saga overall, I think. And I think that's what they're trying to paint it as. Yeah,
this is the end of the Skywalker saga. And I think that we're still going to go and move forward, like how with Marvel we had the Infinity Saga, and now we're going to move into a new saga. I think that's what they're doing. And this is just going to end that story arc with most likely the death of Leia at the end of this.
Do you think we'll get after this we'll get a Poe Dameron movie or something?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean Poe is an interesting character. Poe the comic was really good when it was going. But I don't know. That's a tough sell.
It's just weird to we won't have Daisy Ridley in these movies anymore or something. Like how are they just never going to use these characters unless they do keep using the characters? I don't know.
That's why I say I think Rian Johnson is really doing something that's going to continue the story arc. So we might still get Daisy Ridley, or they might. Let's say I'm 100% right here, which I'm not, everybody. So, but let's say I am, and Kylo and Rey go off and they get married and start killing people across the galaxy. They could always just disfigure their faces again, or give them both masks, and they don't need Daisy or Adam. So
makes sense.
But there was more in this trailer, right? That's all I remember from it. But I know there was more.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think about it. Well, there was a lot of like footage from the older movies as well.
Yeah, and that was that's right, and that was a big one. Is that they really are pushing in this trailer the idea that this is the end of the Skywalker saga, that this is 8 movies before and number 9, and we're ending it here. This is going to be the end of that arc. So yeah, I'm so excited. Everyone knows how much I love Star Wars, and I'm just excited for another saga movie.
Yeah, me too. With that, what do you say we cut to the interview with Gilbert Deltrez?
Let's do it. Welcome back, everybody. This week we have a very special guest. Welcome to the show, Mr. Gilbert Deltrez. Welcome to the show, Gil.
Hey, thanks for having me, and looking forward to a little chat right here.
Yes. So we start with everybody. What got you into comics, and what made you want to start writing comics?
So pretty much, I grew up loving comics, as a lot of fans I'm sure have. The segue into actually wanting to create and writing comics is just pretty much being fed up with some of the movies you watch over the years, some of the books you've read over the years, and I'm like, okay, I want to just put my own spin on things. I want to kind of create my own stuff, and that led into jumping right into the comic book medium.
And that first book was Under the Flesh, correct?
Yes, sir. We did a web comic. We started messing around with that, and then we launched a campaign. Man, that was a while back. And we were able to crowdfund our first chapter, and we actually had another successful campaign, which got us up to the 3rd chapter. And I had to take a little hiatus on that book because the awesome artist we had linked to that book, J.L. Giles, he was doing some Marvel work at the time, and that was really taking up a lot of his schedule. So I don't want to move. I don't want to get into the Walking Dead situation where you have to move to an artist. It's like our baby, and I kind of want to continue it with him. So in the meantime, I didn't want to remain stagnant. So then I launched another crowdfunding campaign for a one-shot horror supernatural book called Lair. And then I did a Western, Pistolera. Those both were able to fund. And then now I got currently going on Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, something new. So, yeah.
So, all Kickstarter books with the exception of the new one, correct?
Yes, that's actually correct. I actually brought Lair to Indiegogo because I wanted to finance a small print run because I've never exhibited at conventions before. And I figured, okay, what better way than bring this book to the Indiegogo audience? Because I know there's people that probably just use Kickstarter and probably just use Indiegogo without knowing there's some people that just like whatever platform. Some people shop at Target, some people shop at Walmart. So some people crowdfund here and rather crowdfund there. So I'm like, let me bring this to people who probably would never heard of Lair otherwise. And I was able to finance a decent print one, give a little bonus to the art team as well. And then I did that with Pistolera as well. I had it on Kickstarter, funded the main bulk of the book, and then I brought it to Indiegogo and made a little bit of extra to help with printing. And now Galactic Rodents of Mayhem I'm bringing to Indiegogo, but I do have plans to bring it to Kickstarter. But there was a reason why I wanted to bring it to Indiegogo first.
So let's get into those reasons. I mean, okay. You're one of the first guests we've had that use Indiegogo. Okay. We've had a lot of Kickstarter guests. So what's the big difference there for comic creators? Yeah,
so basically, I'm not going to lie. Kickstarter will have a lot more attraction. There's a lot more people that use Kickstarter for looking for specifically new indie books. The reason why I went for Indiegogo is because when I was funding Lair and Pistolera, the thing with with Kickstarter is you don't get charged, like a backer won't get charged until the end of the campaign. Pretty much if the goal funds, they get charged. But sometimes, and at least with me, I had a couple rewards, some hefty ones on Lair that didn't process due to either for whatever reason. So I didn't get those funds. And that that was kind of crippling. Also with Piece of Lead, I think we had 2 or 3 also that they didn't go through, and one was a big hefty reward as well. I think that one when that didn't go through, and then you get the Kickstarter fees and that, like it's not meeting your calculations, so you get hit out of pocket. So the reason why I tried Indiegogo, I heard people, and then from funding with Lair, pretty much people who back, they're instantly charged right there, so those funds will be guaranteed. So for me, that's one of the main reasons why, at least for this project, because Galactic Rodents of Mayhem is my biggest project. It's a 100-page graphic novel. We got an amazing art team, and the goal is pretty much to finance their services for the art and a small print run, and pretty much that's it. So I didn't even calculate shipping, but again, I didn't want to have such an amazing goal. I mean, we'll see if we get into stretch goal territory, but that's the main reason why I wanted to bring that one to Indiegogo. But I will bring it to Kickstarter, hoping we fund as well.
Okay, so that's a great segue into Galactic Rodents. Tell us about the book. What's it all about?
So Galactic Rodents of Mayhem for me is pretty much wanting to do something fun. I mean, I know comics, we're in a weird state right now. I mean, we got some great titles, and then we got our controversy, and that's all well. Lair was a little bit dark. It's supernatural. I put some spirituality in there as well because I'm a Christian, so I've gotten some wide-eyed looks like, you're Christian, you're writing horror, what's going on, dude? That's not, dude, I've gotten all that. Then Pistolero was a Western, okay? So not many people are big on Westerns. It's like a small niche genre, but for me, it's classic. I grew up on Westerns. They're still the ultimate storytelling platform for me. You could go so much with that. And then I'm like, okay, what could I do that could be different? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going for something that could have mainstream appeal, but could also be fun, because I wanted to write something that I thought readers would enjoy reading. That's what I wanted to do. And then Galactic Rodents of Mayhem came about because I grew up in the 90s, 80s. Those Saturday morning cartoons for me were just amazing. They had their theme songs. There was a magic there. You could really escape and get lost in these worlds and these stories. And I wanted to try to recapture that. And for me, I grew up on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the comic run was extremely gritty. Spoiler alert, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Shredder literally gets killed in the first issue. Okay, that's how gritty Kevin Eastman did his book, and Peter Laird, and I kind of wanted to capture that grit. Star Wars, I love Star Wars, but then you got to divide because some of the fans see it as not being true or not being, not holding to the origin, so to speak. For me, I love Rogue One. I wasn't crazy about the newer iterations, although I'm watching them because I love Star Wars. So I'm like, okay, I also wanted to capture that and kind of fuse a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe with like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but then we needed the animal. So it's like, my artist, Sebastian, he brought up capybaras. And I don't know if you know about capybaras. I don't know nothing about capybaras. And I did a Google search, and he's like, dude, trust me, just check them out. He's like, this is how this was the hook. This is how he sold me. He's like, they are the most chill animals in the world. He said they get along with every animal out there, aside from their predators, which are snakes. But they're the largest rodent. So they get along with, you got turtles, they get along with birds, they get along with anteaters, they get along with crocodiles, they get along with crocodiles even, okay? I saw a picture on Google with a capybara chilling alongside a crocodile, and I was sold. That if it wasn't for them being capybaras, this book wouldn't exist, because right when I learned more about the capybara animal, I just fell in love. They're also semi-aquatic. They swim like dolphins. They can hold their breath for 5 minutes. They're the largest rodents. They got a distinct look about them. I'm like, everything was just magic. So that was the fuel into writing this, what was now a 104-page graphic novel. So if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this coalesced, this mashup right now going on with Galactic Rodents of Mayhem.
It's such a unique animal to pick too. Like you think rodent and hamsters pop up and guinea pigs, but capybaras, the only thing I knew about them is that they are the largest rodent in the world.
Yeah, but they're so freaking awesome, man. They have pictures on Twitter, pictures on social media. There's a picture I came across yesterday. There's a baby goat. Okay, literally a baby goat that someone put a coat on him or something. And he's literally balancing on like the tip of the capybara's nose or the face. It's like, you can't, it's like, are you serious? They're amazing creatures. So That's how that all stemmed, man. If it wasn't for the capybaras, it wouldn't exist. It just couldn't.
So you said an important word and all that too. So we all love our Watchmen. I'm a huge fan of Dark Knight Returns and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a word you said in there that really resonates with me because it's really resonating more recently with my taste, and that's fun.
Yeah.
So how is it to write something that's a little bit less dark and like you said, you're just having fun with it and trying to get that across to the reader?
It's refreshing. It's refreshing. What I'm doing is I'm taking what I remember being fun growing up, and I'm trying to create something new inspired by the essence of like the good old stuff. And even though when you see the artwork, it's colorful, it's vibrant, it has like this neon punch, there's still, I don't want to say too dark, but there's some weighty subject matter going on behind the scenes, because again, I still want to tap into that grit that I feel that Star Wars lost, that I feel that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lost. Like for me, Star Wars, Han Solo is one of my favorite characters. And the fact that you had to go back and rechange his intro into having Greedo shooting first, that ruined me, dude. That killed me. And there's a specific reference on that, spoiler alert, that I purposefully put into Galactic Rodents of Mayhem just to show that, hey, you can have characters that are supposed to be heroes, but that are pushed into no other alternatives, and they have to react for, protecting those that they love. And it's just, I wanted to capture that. I wanted to show that, hey, as much as this is fun, there's also a cool message here. There's also some good, some deep, weighty stuff going on. So there's a message here as well, but there will be fun. And it's trying to bring you to that nostalgic goodness that, some of these titles that we all grew up, as a kid, we can recapture that through Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. That's at least my mission.
So with this first volume, you're doing the graphic novel. Is this going to be a one and done thing, or do you have outlines and plans for more moving forward?
You see, I'm glad you brought that up, because with Lair, my idea was I wanted some finality. I wanted closure. Me as a reader, I like closure. Now, I get the beauty of comics is that you could keep it going and going, and The Walking Dead, for me, picked up on that because, again, it just went so on and so forth until I just got tired. It made me realize you can have finality and it can be great, but at the same time, if you're doing a new comic book franchise, it's also good if people just they fall in love, like Stranger Things. I don't know if you watch Stranger Things. You don't want to stop at season 2, season 3. Now we got like a season 4. Like, you want to keep it going. So at the same time, I want to do that, but I want to stay true to the vision of the work, and where if I feel things are getting old or getting, kind of tired, I can cut it off. But to answer the question, as far as Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, the way I see it as a new comic book franchise. If we do good and the first volume's pretty good, we got a good reception. The way I ended it, I easily leave it where it could close, unfortunately, if it has to, but where I could easily jump it into the second and third volume, how I have it, ending like a trilogy. And then a fourth edition would be more like a prequel, going into like some of the journeys when they were younger. So it's like, if you see the Turtles, we have where they're like, the teens already with Splinter. Now imagine if you had like this saga where Splinter is like raising them and they're like 12, 13, and they did some crazy missions that we never seen. So that's kind of like what I want to do with the characters I'm establishing in Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, pending if we get a good reception and we're able to bring this awesome, crazy book to life.
Yeah, we all love our ongoing comics and to follow Spider-Man or Cap or whoever. But it is something we've been talking about a lot recently, especially this year with the Preacher TV show ending, that we love that show and it's been so great, but I'm so glad that it's ending because it doesn't overstay its welcome like a lot of these things do.
Exactly. That's what I don't want. I kind of don't want anything as me as a creator. And I get it. I understand, like, when Kirkman did his Walking Dead run, I imagine, he didn't anticipate for it to be a TV show, so again, that's why you want to keep things going. If you have a nice cash cow, you definitely want to milk it. But me as a writer, even though I'm not at that level yet as far as, being prominent and having a successful book, but if I do cross that territory and the backers that help me get there and the people that help, expose me, expose the book, I still want to stay true to the book into the vision, and that I don't want anything to overstay its welcome, because you get redundancy, you get cliches, it's like, hey, if you got to close it out, take a breath of fresh air and be like, hey, the creator now joining with another team is bringing something totally new. So you can challenge yourself, you can challenge the readers to think of something new, try something new. And then at the same time, maybe after doing something different, you can come back when there's, I guess, a demand for it, or maybe just leave it and close it out and just say, hey, we had our run.
That's great. So if people want to go check this book out more and possibly support it, where's the best place to send them?
You can definitely, if you guys check out Indiegogo, and if you just do a search, Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, that's definitely the easiest way to do it. Also, I will send you a link through Facebook. It's kind of like a shortcut, so maybe if you want to plug that in your channels and say, hey, spoke with Gilbert here, Gilly. If you want to check out his book, if you want to support, see if we could bring this to life, because it can't happen without the backers. I'm one where I need crowdfunding to survive, pretty much. I mean, there's some awesome, amazing artists out there that already have established platforms in mainstream media, and they'll come on Kickstarter and they'll crowdfund a book in a day and make upwards of, and hey, God bless them, because if you can do that, I'm not knocking that. That's amazing. And more power to them. I'm just of the ilk where I'm not there yet, so I kind of need the support. So if you guys see a top quality book in Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, if you like what you're hearing from me, the creator, trust me, we got a good art team on this, and we want to bring this book to you because we just want to make things fun yet challenging, and that it got something that's going to leave you thinking at the end.
Yeah, all those links will be in the description below, everybody. So just check those out there. As well as our social medias. And then just to finish it off, is there a place where everybody can get the past work, like Lair and Under the Flesh?
Yeah, I could also share those links with you as well. Lair right now is currently in demand on Indiegogo, and that's where when you fund your campaign, it kind of acts as like an online storefront. So since I had some issues left over from the convention run I did, I was able to open it back up, and I definitely have some copies. So if you want to back Lair, you can do that. And on the Galactic Rodents of Mayhem campaign, we also have a special reward where you can get Lair and Pistolera and Galactic Rodents of Mayhem in one fell swoop. And that's also another way to gauge my work as a creator and also support some cool looking stuff moving forward.
Yeah, everybody. So make sure to check out those links. All the books look great, especially Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. The name alone is what spiked my interest, and then as soon as you get into the campaign, the art is fantastic, and the storyline looks really cool. So make sure to check that out.
Guys, we even have a theme song, okay? We're tugging the nostalgia strings really hard. We got a theme song. If you like Star Wars, you appreciate the opening crawls. We even got our own opening crawl, so definitely, guys, check it out. It will be amazing, man. We appreciate the support. And Chris, man, thank you so much for even having me here.
Yeah, thanks for being on, and hopefully when Volume 2 goes up, we can talk to you again about that. I look forward to reading the book.
Yes, sir. I would love that. Thank you guys so much. And Chris, again, thank you again for the coverage and support.
Hey, we're back.
Awesome. Good stuff. Everybody, if you're not already going to pick up Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Just the name alone is worth your money.
Yeah. Anyways, why don't we jump into, comics we read?
Yeah, not a lot of comics news.
Yeah, not a whole lot of news, but man, this week for DC, I was trying to get all my comics read. I got 4 of them read, and they're all DC comics.
Yeah, so we said it earlier in the show, everyone, but we are recording early because of Labor Day weekend. So if anything news-wise hits, we'll hit it next week. And as far as books, I tried to read as much as I could. I had the biggest comic bill I think I've ever had this week, so I didn't read everything.
It's a lot of comics.
It was much.
They're like, oh shoot! It's like the comic industry forgot it was a holiday next week, so they're like, release them all now.
Oh, they got 3-day weekend. They can read it all. Plus, Marvel Comics 1000 was $10, so that was nice.
Oh God. Yeah, I didn't even get to any of the Marvel. Batman Superman #1.
I did read that.
Pretty cool. It focuses. The main villain here is going to be, well, dude. What an issue, okay? This is like so much fan service for me. the twists and turns in this issue are amazing because like first we start off with we get an intro of like the Batman Who Laughs killing the Justice League, which was like super metal, dude. Like very gruesome and gross and awesome. Like he lures Superman to the Watchtower and he kills him with like kryptonite gas. That's on his Earth, right? Earth Zero, I think. Is that what or are they on Earth Zero? I guess that's what I didn't understand.
I think he's in a different Earth.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's his Earth.
Yeah. So that's what we start off with. Basically, Batman and Superman have to team up to find the Batman Who Laughs, but he's been infecting people with the Joker serum, right? And so they go to look for a kid who's been he kidnapped a child, and in that story they hear that the kid went to get kidnapped and there was an evil Superman and so it's like, and the title of the issue is the Sinister Six, right, or something.
Yep. And
so you're thinking, oh my god, did he make a evil Joker Justice League? Because that would be amazing. And so, like, you know, towards the end of the issue, they find the kid, and they're like, "Oh, hey, the guy must have infected you because the kid was infected." And you're like, "You must be the kid that was captured. Now you've been infected." So, but the cool part is they get to the Bat Cave of the Batman Who Laughs.
Yes,
which is pretty messed up.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot more messed up than Batman's Bat Cave. So they find the kid. It's not the twist is it's not the kid. It's a kid they don't recognize. And not only is it that, it's fucking Billy Batson. Possessed Billy Batson. So you know what, folks? Shazam, and boom, we get a possessed Shazam too. It was like the triple reveal. First off, we got the wrong kid. Like, second off, it's not an evil Superman, it's an evil Shazam. Third off, it's Billy Batson, and boom, you guys are screwed. Like, what an awesome first issue, right? I mean, I really liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I think I don't read a ton of Joshua Williams stuff, so I'm not too keen on him, but I thought he did a really great job of multiple things here. One, like, showing the relationship of Batman and Superman and how they fit even though they shouldn't.
Right.
Diving into both characters and how they look at a situation. And then just the typical Batman thing of Superman, how do I not know that you're infected?
Yeah, how do I not know you?
So even though not a lot happens in the issue, it was a great issue because we just got great back and forth between the characters and inside their minds. Mm-hmm. And then, the way it ends is just like, bam, get ready for issue 2. Yeah. And I think that he is creating an evil Justice League, just he's going to find the counter. He's doing the Batman thing. He knows how to defeat them, so he's going to find the counterparts to the Justice League. And Shazam is magic, so that's the counterpart to Superman.
Take my money, dude.
Because, I mean, we all got to remember, this is Bruce Wayne. It's just Bruce Wayne from a different dimension.
Right. I love Joshua Williamson, and I'll say it. He was writing Flash for a while, but he's the creator of Birthright for Image, and that book is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Check it out.
And then I just want to say David Marquez is the artist on this. He's a longtime Marvel artist. I don't know whether it's him, whether it's who they teamed him up with for the art team, but he really just took the interior to another dimension. Like, Marquez has always been a really great artist, and I've always loved his work, but this is like, something in this book is just perfect. And I think he does an amazing job with everything. Like, there's not a single panel that's bad. Mm-hmm. So hats off to him because he's a very detail-oriented artist, and somehow he gets a book out every month.
Yeah,
and really this is one of his best ones.
Dial H for Hero 6. And so we're still in Metropolis. Basically, Mr. Thunderbolt is gone with the dial, the red Dial H. Dude, this issue is so fantastic. So many cool things happen. Miguel is still trapped in the Heroverse, But come to find out, there's a cyan dial as well. So there's another color. There's not just a red one. It's blue, but cyan they call it. Dude, there's another dial. So like basically, there's a bunch of chaos happening in Metropolis because all these people got turned into soups right at once. So it's like none of them know how to use their powers. So there's all this chaos happening within the city. So it's a really good conversation with the original Dial H guy. I can't remember his name, but he's talking with Miguel like, you need to pick up the phone and save them. It's like you need to believe in yourself, and even though that you might fail, like that's part of being a hero. And all these heroes that just got turned, they're like destroying the city. And there's a lot of like cool interactions. Like I think her name's Summer is the girl he's with, has turned into her hero, and she's trying to like stop all these people from rooting the city. And so she meets like some shitty villains on the way, like this one guy named Dumpster Liar instead of Dumpster Fire, and he like can't tell the truth. It's so good. There's also a character that says like his t-shirt says Frank on the front of it, and it's drawn and like posed just like Dark Knight Batman. And she like, and she like Frank Miller, Dark Knight Batman, his name's Frank. So it's obviously like making fun of him. Mm-hmm. And she like beats him up and like punches him into the mud, just like in, The Dark Knight Returns. So it's really good. And then come to find out, like Mr. Thunderbolt at the end, he has a team that's, these people that want the power of the dial back. Like they crave it. So they're like helping him, and he promises them, oh, I'll turn you into a hero for a little longer. Just don't worry. But in the process, like Miguel grabs the blue dial and he transforms into Super Miguel. So he's basically like a knockoff of Superman. It's pretty awesome. So he like saves the day and stuff. And he does like a really, like his origin, how they're always doing like an intro with origins. His origin was him saving the Metropolis. Like that was his origin. It was like him saving the day already. Like he had to make his own origin. It was a really cool story. And then come to find out at the end, Mr. Thunderbolt is collecting, there's 4 different dials. And I don't know if they all do something different. This one like turned Miguel into a version of Superman. So I think that's what this dial does. It turns you into like a version of Soups almost, instead of like a random hero. But dude, what a great issue. This book's so much fun. Freedom Fighters number 8.
Did not get a chance to read it.
Oh, well, I'm not a whole lot happens in this issue. Basically, they infiltrate. We get like Black Condor's origin, and then they infiltrate the concentration camp in Detroit where he grew up, or he was born. And basically, there's a fight about to break out, and the plastic men are there. And basically, the people working in Detroit are like, "Oh man, Black Condor is on our side. Let's rise up and fight these guys." So it kind of like ends with basically saying like it's going to be a fight for Detroit. Like they're about to, like the people are rising up and rebelling in these concentration camps, and they're about to take on the plastic men. So it's pretty cool. While the other half of the team is breaking in, like what is Uncle Sam is trying to break in to get the human bomb out of he's being tortured right now. But they're talking about trying to get the plastic men serum and using it on themselves so they can become invulnerable. It's pretty cool. Justice League number 30, dude. Chris got to see the end of me reading this book, which was like, it was a really high and low. The last 2 pages of Justice League number 30. Basically, we get it's mostly a recap of like where we are in the multiverse stuff, what's going on. It starts off with a glimpse, like Starman shows everybody the view of the future of how they all die, and it's pretty gruesome. And so like they split off into teams. Basically, he does an explanation of like we need to grab fragments of the cage of Perpetua to like so we can maybe create our own totality. And because he talks about the multiverse, and the multiverse is a combination of all the different forces like Speed Force, the spectrum of light for Green Lanterns and stuff, the sphere of gods. And so they're like there's a bad version too that Perpetua is trying to take, like the 7 deadly magics or the bad versions, and that's what she's trying to remake the world with. Really, I mean, there's a lot of comic book science stuff, but So what they decide on is like, okay, we're going to go to different timelines to snatch up pieces of the Perpetua. Sound familiar? Like a movie with Thanos that came out pretty recently?
A little bit.
But something happens like Lex Luthor already knew about this. So when one team goes to the past, one team goes to the present, they go to the past, or they go to the future. I'm sorry. They go to the future and they realize that the war is lost. Like they lost really bad, and there's like these cyborgs walking around with the totality symbol on their chest, and basically like they're like, what happens? And lo and behold, Kamandi finds them with his like tiger companions, and is like, oh well, let me catch you up on what's going on. So here I'm reading this book like, oh shit, man, like I don't want to read Kamandi. Like I talk about this all the time. Like, why do they push this character on me? Flip the page, and you get the team that went to the past, and they're like, oh, something's off. Why is the totality symbol everywhere? And these people like, they're like, oh, we can help you out, son. We're the Justice Society of America. Boom. Dude, splash page of the Justice Society, dude. That's what I've been waiting for. Issue 30 of the Justice League, we finally got the Justice Society back. And dude, they're so ready to fight, man. They're all there too, every one of them. They made up for the Kamandi. I was like, oh, whatever, you can have Kamandi. Sure. The Justice Society's back, baby.
That's Scott Snyder's big F you to Jeff Johns. I got the Justice Society first.
Yeah. Dude. Oh man. Could that be his new project book, you think? It's gotta be.
I think that's where he's going after this.
Oh, dude. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, Justice Society book? Holy crap.
I think that they put all their eggs in the Hickman barrel, and when he turned them down, they're like, hey, Snyder, you want to do this?
He's like, sure, why not? Dude, so epic, though. Oh, my God. But that's all I had. I only got through 4, and they're all DC Comics.
So, yeah, I didn't get through a whole lot, but we got House of X number 3. So where we are with X-Men right now, we found out where Maria X is, how all these timelines are affecting things. So they've all been Maria's past lives. And now our current timeline is her current life. And so she comes back after being in the future and being killed by Wolverine because she finds the answer to the mother mold. So Wolverine's like, okay, you ready to go back? Kills her. And that brings us to House of X, where we get the team that's going to be the X-Men for us, and they have to infiltrate the mother mold. So they have the plans for it. And the mother mold, everyone knows the master mold, correct? So we have Sentinels, then we have a master mold. The master mold creates Sentinels. But then a mother mold creates master molds. Okay. It's the X-Men. It's confusing.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. That's very strange.
I think this is a new thing, the mother mold. I'm not huge on X-Men.
Is that like Mother Box? Is that like a mother? Oh, man.
Borrowing from each other now.
Yeah.
So they have the plans for the mother mold, so they're going to go and destroy it. And they end up finding out that the mother mold is actually orbiting around the sun and using the nuclear power from the sun to power it. The problem is that the mother mold in the future creates Nimrod. Nimrod is a self-repairing, self-aware sentinel who ends up taking over the world and trying to destroy all mutants. So they infiltrate to go in there. Well, as they do it, and as the book ends, we see Nightcrawler jump in, and they've got these latches that if you can get all 4 in a certain amount of time, the idea being that 4 people have to do it at the same time, it can eject the main portion of the mother mold and destroy it.
No!
The only person who could pull this off would either be Nightcrawler or a group of X-Men. So rather than go and infiltrate, try to kill a bunch of people, and then destroy it, they want to do it with 0 casualties. So Nightcrawler goes in, they start to enter in, and then something happens. The captain of this vessel that's holding the mother mold calls in the Sentinels from... There's apparently a bunch of Sentinels on Venus. So he calls them in, and all we see is them fly in, and then the X-Men ship blow up, and that's where we end.
Isn't Venus a gaseous planet?
Well, maybe they're just chilling, like sucking up that gas. Gotta suck up the gas to find the mutants to kill.
Sucking some gas. It's probably not. It's probably. I'm just thinking it's one of the gas giants, but I could be wrong.
I don't think it is, because if Destiny has taught me anything, there's lots of floral trees and grass on Venus.
Oh yeah. Oh, so when you're telling me there's other life on planets, and I just never knew until now. Holy shit! What a twist!
What a twist!
With a twist.
But the big thing here, House of X and Powers of X, they're both connected, and they've been kind of every issue up until the last one. They felt like their own series, like we were starting a new series, and then last issue kind of pulled them all together and created the timeline. And now we know where we stand, and we're getting like kind of the crux of the story or where the X-Men are heading. So I really love this issue because it was straight X-Men, superpower stuff, and I'm obviously intrigued to see where it goes because as far as we know, the X-Men are dead, even though they're not.
They're dead.
And then I really want to get into Marvel Comics 1000. So Marvel Comics 1000, I don't know how they got to 1000, but let's just go with it.
We'll just add them up and carry the 5.
I still say if it was me, and my Marvel history might be wrong here, but I believe Marvel Comics went 12 issues. So, right?
Yeah.
I think where they got the number is that if you did release an issue every year or every month since then, it'd be 1,000. But what I would have done if I were them is done one of those legacy box. I mean, you remember when they were doing legacy numbering and they were showing their math?
Yeah.
I would have done one of those, but it would have said Marvel Comics 1 through 12, comma,
right.
Marvel Comics 1000.
Yeah, exactly.
Just completely make fun. But anyways, so this is an 80-page story. It's one page for every year of Marvel Comics. And the main crux of the story here is that there is a mask called the Eternity Mask that's been traveling through the Marvel universe, and they connect it to like super obscure Marvel characters and Marvel books, like Western books and all this weird stuff they were publishing in the 30s, and bring some of those characters in.
That's cool.
And then there's some pages that are just like one-shot stories of like celebrating a character. There's a couple Deadpool ones. There's a couple Captain America ones, Iron Man ones, so on and so forth. And they're kind of thrown in there along with it. But Al Ewing's basic story is that, and it's around this mask and how this group of people want to find it and use it to reshape the universe. And they're the Scientist Guild. And the Scientist Guild is this group that goes all the way back to Camelot. And in Camelot, they created this mask, and that's where it came from. And the mask is supposed to be able to give you the ability to fight toe-to-toe with anybody. So whoever you go up against. So if I'm wearing the mask and I go up against Superman, I can fight toe-to-toe with Superman, have all of his powers and all of his strength.
Until he knocks your mask off.
Yeah, but that's the idea of it. So they created this, and that's how they get a Black Knight story in there. Somebody goes over against the Black Knight. And then this guild of wizards that call themselves Science Guild, because why not?
Yeah, sure.
Pop up, and they take it and say, this is our creation, we're taking it, and it goes with them through time. This guild goes through history as different people. So as people die, new people come in. It's always 3 people, and we see them at the birth of the Marvel Universe. So Marvel Comics 1, Human Torch. And then we see them at different points throughout history as well. And we kind of end with somebody has it, and we have characters who want to find it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to do the thing that everybody on this show hates, but fuck yeah.
In your defense, no one's actually told us they hate that, so.
I just assume they all hate it. So yeah, it's Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel and 2 other guys. I'm not going to go through this, but they end up realizing that they them three are come together and they're like, we got to find this mask. Something's happening. People want it. And then it ends with them being like, are we the new scientist guild? And somebody has it, and it's a old style Western character with 2 revolvers. So this book is going to get a 1001 because we got to continue the story apparently. I'm interested to see where it goes. They said a lot about who's behind the mask, and we'll find out in 2020 and this and that. There's a lot of things going on here, and it could be that they're doing kind of what DC's doing, which is creating like almost a JSA like scenario where there's past heroes, and we're going to bring them into the current. It could also be, and I don't think this is it, but there's a hint of something in there that there's a reboot coming. There's like a crisis like event happening. I'm interested to see where it's going. This book is for the most hardcore of hardcore Marvel fans. I'm going to try it. I'm trying it. But there's also 2 very interesting pages. So there is a Conan the Barbarian page, which Conan is in the Marvel Universe, so that makes sense. The one that's interesting is the page for 1977 is a Star Wars story. Oh. So this has created a ton of speculation because this book is billed as 80 years, 80 creative teams, 1 universe. Oh, snap. So what you're telling me is Patton Oswalt's script for Infinity War was like, it can come true? I don't know. We might be reading too much into that. Right. That's just kind of buzzwords, and we're throwing on a cover and it looks good. But people are getting on that. I think it was just 1977 is the year that Marvel Comics published Star Wars #1. And so that's the perfect place to do that book. That's amazing. That page. But yeah, I really liked it. There's pages in there that I wasn't so keen on because they're either characters I'm not aware of or I don't care about. But all in all, as a package, I think it was worth the money. And I'm excited for issue 2 and to find out what's going on in 2020. And then we'll finish it with a indie book, Metro by Brian Quinn, Cullen Bunn, and art by Walt Flanagan. This was a Kickstarter book that they did together. It is a very horror, demon-centric story with supernatural elements. We have a character who has died, is resurrected, and he's trying to figure out who he is. We end up finding out that he is the spiritual culmination of a city, and in this case, New York City. So we end up finding out that cities actually have souls, and they can take on a host. That's pretty cool. The crux of this story is there's a lot going on because there's a whole group that is trying to figure out if supernatural elements are real, and they want to prove it to the world. But the real crux of it is the character of New York City. And we end up finding out that the reason New York City is having trouble remembering who he is or who it is because there was a traumatic event in its past. And that traumatic event was 9/11. Oof. So this is I'm a big fan of Brian Quinn, everyone involved here. And I know his podcast history and his television show. So I know that he's a firefighter at one point in his life. So I feel like this is his story of how New York has had so much trouble healing from this event as a common city. And it leads off to, it kind of wraps all that up to where they find hope and then leave it in a place where they can do more books. Nice. I really, really liked it. I will warn everybody, it is very graphic. There is there's a lot of death, a lot of stabbing, a lot of demonic stuff, a lot of necrophilia in this book. So, buyer beware. They don't really show much. It's just a lot of kind of a guy obviously doing something to a body. But just beware when you're reading it, where you're reading it, around whom you're reading it. But I do really recommend it. So don't bring the book to church, folks. No, bring the book to church. Like, that would be... But this is a book we talked to Colin, or actually I think I talked to Colin Bunn about maybe a year ago now. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see it's finally out and available. Cool. But
Awesome.
So, Mike, that's all I got. Where can people find you on that internet I hear so much about?
Well, if you're if you dabble in the internets, you can find me at FortressRicker on Twitter.com.
And you can find the show at FC_official or FortressComicNews.com, where everything we do is right there on that handy dandy website, including my other podcast, the Bat Friends podcast.
Bat Friends!
If you want to find me and follow me and my antics, it is at Fortress Chris on Twitter. And remember, everybody, if you want to show support to us, to go to patreon.com/FortressComicNews, where $1 gets you the Bat Friends podcast early, and a few other perks that I'm working on as my busy life continues on. And as Mike puts his thumbs up and down, remember to give us 5 stars on iTunes or whatever podcatcher you use, and like, subscribe, share, and tell Mike that he sucks.
I do suck. Man, I suck. Damn it.
So thank you all for listening. I truly appreciate it, and we'll see you all next week.
Mom was right. Anyways, that was my best George impression.
Yeah, my favorite work quote right now is, "No way wine's better than Pepsi. No way."
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I come to that party with ring dings and Pepsi. I'm the most popular guy there.